The second presidential debate has come and gone. We have so much to unpack, and just who at the debate is making headlines this week? It wasn't one of the candidates. It's all ahead on this edition of Valpo Townhall. Hello and thank you for joining us on Valpo Townhall here on VUTV. I'm Micah Topel alongside Carlos Cabaya, our Republican representative, and Josh Henderson, our Democratic representative. Guys, thanks for being here tonight.
Thank you, Micah.
Thank you for having us.
One of the biggest moments of the debate was Donald Trump's defense of a recent video release showing him making lewd comments about women. Now, we will not show you the video, but rather what Donald had to say about it.
No, I didn't say that at all. I don't think you understood what was said. This was locker room talk. I'm not proud of it. I apologize to my family. I apologize to the American people. Certainly, I'm not proud of it. But this is locker room talk. Yes, I'm very embarrassed by it. I hate it. But it's locker room talk, and it's one of those things.
Trump's lewd comments and the preceding apology has caused quite a ruckus within the GOP. What do you guys think? Do you think that Trump's apology was genuine, or was it something forced upon him by his PR chairman?
It was from 2005, so the comments were old, and Hillary in 2005 was probably a very different person as well, so.
Interesting that you bring up his apology. His apology seemed very forced, although I didn't really regard it as much of an apology. He dismissed the comments as locker room talk. However, I don't know any other locker rooms that this would be appropriate, minus maybe Fox News. But this kind of behavior is not appropriate for someone that is running for president. Furthermore, it's not appropriate for our society in general.
I agree, it's not appropriate for any person, not even just the president, any person. It's not acceptable for any person to say these kind of comments, and I very much agree with you on that.
Okay, so what do you make of the fact that he wasn't apologizing?
He was apologizing, and I think that was genuine.
Okay, I think we can agree to disagree on that then.
Okay.
All right. So many GOP leaders have condemned his words, including Paul Ryan, and John McCain even went as far as withdrawing his endorsement of Donald Trump. Do you guys think that with all of this craziness that has happened, that this could be the end of the Trump campaign?
I don't think so. Trump tweeted he will go until the end. Whether he wins or he loses, he's going to go until the end.
You know, I certainly don't think this is the end of the Trump campaign, although I do think it pushes away demographics that he so desperately needs. If you look at polls, he's trailing with women, he's trailing with African Americans, he's trailing with Asians, he's trailing with pretty much every single demographic.
Do you know how they take polls?
Yes, I am aware of how they take polls.
How do they take polls?
Do you want me to explain the
Sure.
procedure? Okay, so what they do is they take random samples.
Right, they take random samples and they take phone calls, and sometimes people don't answer those phone calls. I've gotten polled 3 times and I only answered one of those polls. So it doesn't accurately measure the election and what the people actually want. If the polls were wrong, we might even be seeing Hillary soaring with 20-point margins.
So that being said, if the polls are wrong, why is it that Donald Trump brags every time he polls ahead?
He uses polls that are for counties and not federal election polls.
So when he points to Ohio, for example, and says, I lead by 4 points, you're saying these polls are accurate.
That was last week.
So that was
before the comments were released.
Okay, so you're saying he'll be doing worse in Ohio polls then?
Maybe.
But if the polls don't matter, why would he be doing worse?
I guess we could move on to a new topic. Speaking of the polls, though, do you guys think that there's sort of a kind of a subconscious effect on people when they hear Donald Trump is down in the polls or Hillary Clinton is up in the polls? Do you think that people kind of subconsciously can think like, well, maybe I should vote for that person because they're in the lead, or not vote for this person because they're not in the lead? Do you think there's any kind of effect on people that the polls have?
I think the polls doesn't really matter to people. People pay attention to them, yes, mostly people in media, but I don't think the polls really matter to the rest of Americans.
Now, this is where I disagree with you, because Donald Trump has a very firm base. However, this base will become less motivated if they see that their candidate is starting to lose steam. So for example, if he starts to slip even further in the polls, he's going to have less support from the people that he's always relied on. And that's why you're starting to see more and more comments that are coming out that are meant to get his base fired up. And these comments include sexist, racist, very thinly veiled attacks at other groups.
Okay. So do you think that, is there really any, I know at one point in time Trump made the comment that he could shoot someone on Fifth Avenue in New York and that his voters wouldn't change their minds. Do you think that that's an accurate statement to an extent, like that Trump could really do anything, it doesn't matter what he does, that he's built up enough rapport with his constituents that they'll stick with him through the end?
I think there is a number of constituents that would stick with him until the end, even with or without any incident that he does.
And I agree with you that he's not going to lose many of his base supporters. The people that are showing up to his rallies very clearly have a deep respect and love for Donald Trump. However, his issue is with the people that don't show up to his rallies. It's the people who they consciously object to what it is that he's saying. So I don't think that he's going to have an issue with his base. I think if he wants to make a play in these last 30 days of the election or so, he's going to have to reach out to groups that he's been bashing the entire election.
I don't think he's going to reach out to those groups.
Well, and I agree with you. I don't think he's going to either.
All right. So much of this stuff that we've been talking about has occurred over the weekend, but following Paul Ryan telling House Republicans to focus on their re-election campaigns has caused Donald Trump to lash out against him. See what he had to say earlier today after this break.
Good morning, Valparaiso University. What's a better way to start your day than with a new jam? And WVUR has just what you need.
But if you close your eyes, does it almost feel like nothing changed at all? And if you close your eyes, does it... If Daniel won't change your mind, baby, right.
Broadcasting sports, news, weather, and music on air, online, and on campus. WVUR is my jam.
The gloves were off for both presidential candidates at the recent debate. To give you a complete overview of the event, here's Emily Schmidt.
Here is a new two-word takeaway from the debate last night: down ballot. That's because we are hearing from Democrats that they're going to spread out some of their campaign money, hoping to pick up more Senate seats. We're also hearing that House Speaker Paul Ryan told Republicans that he will not be defending Donald Trump before the election, and that they should do what is best for them and for their district as the GOP tries to hold on to the House. This is a dramatically shifting political landscape, less than 1 month to go before the election. No handshake between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton Sunday night in St. Louis. That icy start set the tone for another contentious debate. Discussion turned quickly to recently released video of Trump making lewd and sexually aggressive comments about women.
And certainly I'm not proud of it, but that was something that happened.
I think it's clear to anyone who heard it that it represents exactly who he is.
The candidates sparred on topics from foreign policy to personal temperament, and there were surprises, like the moment Trump knocked his own running mate on the issue of Syria.
He and I haven't spoken, and I disagree. I disagree.
You disagree
I
with
think
your
we have
running
to
mate.
knock out ISIS.
Mike Pence, who confirmed that he is not dropping the ticket, blamed the moderator.
Frankly, I've got a lot of respect for Martha Raddatz, but she just misrepresented the statement that I made.
Clinton said the debate went as anticipated.
I pretty much saw what I expected to see, that he's not fit to be president and commander-in-chief.
The town hall format allowed voters to pose questions.
Would either of you name one positive thing that you respect in one another?
Clinton said she respected Trump's kids. Trump said he respected that Clinton was a fighter. And finally, they shook hands. Early indications are that the viewership for this second debate was down about 20% from the first debate. It may have been because of Sunday Night Football, may have been because of the impacts of Hurricane Matthew, or as one television executive said, it may be because voters are tired of the tenor of this campaign. Reporting at Washington University in St. Louis, I'm Emily Schmidt.
So one of the issues that was actually brought up in the middle of the debate with Martha Raddatz, one of the moderators, with Donald Trump, was whether or not he agreed with his running mate. So now I'll open the floor to you guys. What do you guys think about how important it is for a running mate to agree with their candidate?
I think it is troubling that a running mate wouldn't agree with the candidate. However, I think once they get into office, as long as the running mate isn't trying to disagree with legislation that's being put forward by the president or things of that nature, as long as the running mate isn't disagreeing with this, I don't think it poses that big of an issue. However, if Pence were to become the vice president and he were to try to change Trump's legislation and try to get him to not build a wall,
That would be a very big problem.
that's when it becomes an issue.
Especially when like a majority of Indiana residents are in favor of Trump. It would just look foolish for Mike Pence to disagree with Trump now or ever, really. He accepted his vice presidential nomination and he has to go all the way. He has nothing going for him. He quit the Indiana governorship election, and this is what he has right now, and this is what he has to go forward with.
And I can agree with you that I think that this isn't as big of a deal as the media is making it. I think the regular voters don't necessarily care all that much. To be honest, most voters don't care about
The vice president.
about the vice president's ideology on certain policies. So I think that we can agree on that.
Cool. Do you think that any of the disagreement between the candidates, between Pence and Trump, removes any of the unity or the power? I guess you were kind of touching on
There
that
wouldn't
a
be
bit.
too many disagreements with Pence and Trump. I think most of the disagreements between Pence and Trump is really Trump's rude comments, especially with the sexual assault comments back in 2005. That's majority of the disagreements between Pence and Trump. But when it comes to policy, I think Trump and Pence are very much agreeable.
Trump and Pence not agreeing doesn't necessarily affect unity, because I don't necessarily think there's unity within the ticket. I think the GOP is having a lot of issues right now trying to come together behind Trump and Pence. So I don't know that this pushes it that much further out of the way.
Pence definitely complements Trump's campaign. Pence is an actual conservative. Trump is not. He is a populist. Yes, I agree. A majority of the GOP leadership are disagreeing with Trump and want him out of the ticket, but Trump is going to go all the way.
Okay. Speaking of people actually who disagree with Trump, Paul Ryan actually recently called him out, as we had touched on a little bit, and Donald Trump had a tweet that responded to that I believe we can throw up on the screen for you guys right now. So yeah, I talked about how Paul Ryan should spend more time on balancing the budget, jobs, and illegal immigration, and not waste his time on fighting the Republican nominee. Do you think that, so we discussed how it's okay, you basically came to the consensus that it's okay for Trump and Pence to disagree on things. Do you think that it changes anything that basically the face of the Republican Party is also distancing himself from the Trump campaign?
I think it puts a lot of Republicans in a very tough position because, one, they're expected to follow their standard bearer no matter what the nominee says. However, when Trump has said so many egregious things, it's difficult for a lot of down-ballot politicians to side with him. However, if they redact their support, a lot of times it will leave them looking like they're just abandoning their party. So either way, it is going to hurt them with some segment of voters. It could hurt them with people that are in favor of Trump, and it could also hurt them with their more traditional conservatives.
Do you have any thoughts on that, or? Just whether or not Paul Ryan, I guess, would have any, if you think that he has a lot of pull in the Republican Party, or?
Paul Ryan definitely has a lot of pull in the Republican Party. If Paul Ryan were to run as president of the United States right now, he would probably win against Hillary Clinton. Paul Ryan is an actual conservative. He's Speaker of the House right now, and he would make a tremendous president. And he currently still supports Donald Trump for president. He doesn't have a choice to not support him right now. So,
where I do think this hurts Trump and Paul Ryan is in Wisconsin, which is right now, according to the pollsters, is very much in favor of Hillary. However,
Right.
that could swing before the election. But when you have one of the top conservatives in the state, not pulling his endorsement away from Trump, but saying, I don't agree with what Trump is saying, it's difficult
well,
to
a lot
win an
of
election.
Republican leadership is disagreeing with Trump's comments, not just Paul Ryan. So, I mean, yes, I agree with you. If Paul Ryan could sweep the vote for Wisconsin for Donald Trump, Donald Trump might win Wisconsin, and he does pull a lot of support from Wisconsin.
So we've actually got one more quick clip from the debate here. One audience member became an instant celebrity after Sunday's debate. Ken Bone caught everyone's eye with his power outfit that included a red cardigan. He now says that wearing the sweater was actually his backup plan.
I had a really nice olive suit that I love a great deal, and my mother would have been very proud to see me wearing on television. But apparently I've gained about 30 pounds, and when I went to get in my car the morning of the debate, I split the seat of my pants all the way open. So the red sweater is plan B. I'm glad it worked out.
So what makes you guys think that the reason why the media and everyone overall in this country has latched on to this man? Is it
a distraction? You know, do you guys remember Alex from Target?
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yes, it's a distraction from the election, and it's something probably Trump put on there, so to distract people from the
That's
comments that he
idea,
just
actually.
made. Yeah.
That's interesting that you mentioned a distraction, because with so much negative rhetoric happening within the debate, I think people were looking for something to laugh at.
Yeah.
They wanted to see something where the candidates were put on the back burner because they were sick and tired of them talking. And if you look at polls conducted by CNN, majority of people regarding the election, they say that they're tired of it. And I think this tends to be the general feeling overall.
Yeah, both sides of the aisle are tired of this election. Both Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump are not great presidential nominees.
Yeah, well, while this debate has fired at Democrats and Republicans alike, including the two sitting here at the table, undecided voters are the real gauge at where this election will head. We'll take a closer look at where that voter base is headed when we come back.
It's easy to walk into an interview feeling confident, knowing you'll make the right impression. Which one do you use? The bone crusher, a little too firm. The misfire, just utter confusion. The politician, a little too creepy. The dead fish, very awkward. The hug shaker, too much commitment. Get started right away with Handshake, only through the Career Center. Do what you love.
Everyone knows John Guilford is one of the best defenders on the team. He's one of the best in the PFL, and he puts a lot of time in on the field to make sure of that, but he also puts in a lot of time off the field to do that too. He's pretty good at what he does. Pretty good, yeah. Ow.
We'll be taking a deeper look at the debate now, and it's revolving around body language. Here's Gary Tuchman and Nick Morgan with the story.
When people use their voices, they can lie, they can tell fibs, but body language sometimes uncovers those lies and fibs. Right, Nick Morgan?
That's absolutely true, Gary.
Let's watch the beginning of this debate.
Well, they didn't shake hands, first and foremost. And as everybody's noted, that's awkward and showed the level of hostility that existed. More interesting, perhaps, was that when Hillary walked out, she walked with a real kind of grounded confidence. She had a big smile on her face. It looked real. Trump, on the other hand, his head is pitched forward. He's squinting. He's got a fake smile on his face. So he doesn't look as confident, as happy to be there.
When Hillary Clinton was talking about emails, you noticed something about Donald Trump's expressions while he was listening to her. Let's watch.
Obviously, if I were to do it over again, I would not. I'm not making any excuses.
He shuts his eyes. His body language indicates he's disengaged. He moves back and forth. He looks like he'd rather be anywhere but there.
Let's watch Hillary Clinton's reaction when she hears something that she doesn't like.
And believe me, she has tremendous hate in her heart. And when she said deplorables, she meant it.
Her first reaction was literally for her jaw to drop, her mouth to open. She was shocked. And then she went into the fake smile to conceal her anger. It's a classic way people who aren't terribly comfortable with expressing anger use to hide their real feeling. And it creates a reaction in us that this person isn't being sincere.
One thing that a lot of people noticed, a lot of viewers, is what is perceived to be Donald Trump looming behind Hillary Clinton.
And I'm going to fix it because I agree with you.
So what he's trying to do there, whether consciously or unconsciously, is distract her. And she does very well by continuing to focus on the questioner and answer the question. His lurking behind her is, I believe, an attempt to intimidate, but the result is doesn't have any effect on her.
There's a lot of talk about Donald Trump's sniffing.
And so abusive to women. Any way you want to say it, I'm going to say it. And I hate to say it. It's been a disaster.
You don't think the sniffing has anything to do with the cold or being sick. There's another meaning to it.
Absolutely. What he's doing is he's marking his thoughts, his phrases, his sentences there. And he's indicating approval. So he's saying to himself, nailed that one. That was good. There goes another one. And so this is a way he has of keeping track of where he is in his thought process.
So the sniff is like an exclamation point?
Absolutely, yeah.
But he's not aware he's doing it.
I think it's completely unconscious. Clearly it's a nervous tick that he uses to talk to himself, to give himself a pat on the back, and it's not working for him.
One more debate left. As a coach, as an expert in this, what piece of advice do you have for Hillary Clinton?
I think Hillary needs to get more comfortable with her emotions.
And Donald Trump?
Donald Trump badly needs to reestablish some sort of trust. At a very simple body language level, he needs to open up, he needs to open his eyes, he needs to warm it up, he needs to stop scowling at us.
So what do you guys think about the whole body language clip? I know when I was watching the debate, I thought it was kind of interesting. I did notice how Trump seemed to be kind of creeping in on Clinton during the debate, and it seemed like no matter what camera angle they tried to shoot at, he always kind of looked like he was looming behind her. There was also a couple other instances, but I'll let you guys discuss a little bit first.
I think this goes back to the basic human instinct of fight or flight. Donald Trump very obviously feels threatened. He feels threatened that he's going to lose the election. He feels threatened by the fact that a woman is beating him. And so his instinct is to creep up and stand there and be intimidating. It's more of a power move.
I mean, I agree with you. I think it's very unprofessional that neither candidates shook hand. Let's just get that out of the way. It's very unprofessional. There's obviously an extreme and hostile environment within both candidates. Donald Trump looks overworked and underslept, while Hillary Clinton comes out looking fresh and healthy.
And that was interesting, seeing as the questions a couple weeks ago were about her stamina. So I think it says something that we're this late in the election and she comes out looking as fresh and rested as she actually is.
Right, yes. A couple weeks ago, a lot of people were mentioning that Hillary has been sick, and I wouldn't blame media for that because these candidates, they would get sick. They stay up long hours, they're overworked, they make speeches and just trying to win an election. And back in the primaries when Marco Rubio was still in the running for the Republican nomination, Rubio was very sick.
Yeah, going back to body language with the way Donald Trump spoke during the speech and with the way he sniffed, it was very distracting for the average viewer to listen and try to ignore it. It was one of those things where it just happened time and time again.
Well, he was sick, so he sniffled. I think Jeb Bush coughed once at a debate, and a lot of people commented on that. But yeah.
All right. So we had mentioned undecided voters before the break. How do you guys think any of this body language, I know the handshake especially could be something like that, how the body language would affect the average undecided voter when trying to pick a candidate?
Most undecided voters are very much probably going to vote third party right now, since no one really likes either candidates. Both parties are obviously trying to get those independent voters and soft Republicans, soft Democrats. I have personally worked with something like that before, and it is a tough job to try to get in all the independent voters.
Well, this is a challenging notion for Hillary in particular, because she's not particularly well liked when it comes to her charisma. She doesn't have much charisma. So seeing this icy body language towards another candidate would perhaps alienate some undecided voters who are looking for some kind of reassurance that she's, nice.
Yeah. So actually, if you guys watched the debate, the way that it ended was one of the audience members asked each candidate to say something kind and compliment the other one. So I'd actually like to do that now in the spirit of the debate, not necessarily for each other, but for the other party.
So just in general, it's been amazing how Trump has captured the attention of America and really made this election all about him. It's quite a skill.
I think Hillary has done a very great job of trying to catch independent voters. She's definitely winning the election right now, and Trump releasing the Trump video with the comments is a month before the election was a very good tactic.
That about does it for us tonight at this edition of Valpo Townhall, ending on a positive note. Join us next week at the same time and same channel for all things happening in politics. For Carlos Cabaya, Josh Henderson, and all of us here at VUTV, have a great night, Valpo.